away from my wife!
On the night of the Blackwood Charity Gala, billionaire hotel magnate Damien Vale steps out onto the moonlit terrace to escape the noise of politicians, socialites, and fake smiles. That's when he sees her. A woman in a silver dress, barefoot in the rain, dancing alone in the palace garden as if no one in the world can touch her. She looks too elegant to be a servant, too sorrowful to be a guest. Her eyes glisten, not from the rain, but from tears she refuses to let fall. Damien is captivated instantly. When the music from inside shifts to a slow violin piece, he walks toward her. She startles, tries to leave, but slips on the wet marble path. Damien catches her before she falls. For one suspended moment, they are inches apart, rain on their skin, breath mingling, eyes locked. "Who are you?" Damien whispers. She looks at him with fear, not shyness. Before she can answer, a furious male voice cuts through the storm. "Get away from my wife." Damien turns. Standing under the terrace lights is Governor Roland Ashford, one of the most powerful men in the state, a public hero with a spotless image, and eyes so cold they make the rain feel warm. The woman steps back immediately, trembling. And that's when Damien realizes something is terribly wrong. Because the woman in his arms doesn't look like a wife who has been caught in a harmless moment. She looks like someone who has just been found trying to breathe. She was introduced to the world as a governor's graceful wife, but behind the gates of Ashford House, she was living like a ghost in silk. And the man who saw her crying in the rain was about to tear open a secret empire built on cruelty, lies, and a love someone tried to bury alive. Please, can I ask for a favor? Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel so we can keep bringing you heartfelt stories. The woman's name is Alara Ashford. To the public, Alara is the refined, elegant wife of Governor Roland Ashford, a former pianist from a modest coastal town who married into power 3 years ago. Society magazines call her the jewel of the Ashford legacy. She appears at charity galas, ribbon cuttings, and campaign dinners with a soft smile and perfect posture. But the truth is far darker. Inside Ashford House, Alara has no freedom. Roland controls where she goes, what she wears, who she speaks to, and even what she says in public. Her phone is monitored. Her mail is intercepted. The household staff have been trained to report her every move to Roland's chief of security, Miles Doran, a former military officer who now acts more like a prison warden than a bodyguard. Alara's late-night piano playing is forbidden because Roland says it makes her emotional. She is not allowed to visit her mother. She is not allowed to keep friends. She is not even permitted to sleep in her own room when Roland is angry. The silver dress she wore that rainy night, Roland chose it. The smile she gave photographers, practiced. The tears in the garden, real. Damien Vale is not a man who gets emotionally involved in strangers. He is disciplined, private, and known for turning a struggling chain of seaside hotels into a luxury empire. Since losing his fiancée in a boating accident 7 years ago, he has kept love at a distance. But he cannot stop thinking about Alara. Not because she is beautiful, though she is. Because when Roland pulled her away that night, Damien saw something in her eyes that haunted him. Not embarrassment, fear. The next morning, Damien learns more about Governor Roland Ashford. The man is campaigning for a Senate seat and has become nearly untouchable in the media. His image is spotless. His marriage looks perfect from the outside. But Damien's instincts tell him otherwise. Then something strange happens. A small envelope is delivered anonymously to Damien's penthouse office. Inside is a single sheet of piano music. Across the top, written in elegant handwriting, are the words, "I should not have danced in the rain." There is no signature. Only one detail stands out. A small water stain over the final note, as if a tear had fallen on the page before it was folded. Damien knows exactly who sent it. And at the bottom of the sheet, hidden in the notes, is a message only someone observant would catch. "Help me." Damien arranges to attend another public event where Roland and Alara will be present, a fundraising dinner for the Ashford Children's Foundation. During the event, Damien engineers a quiet moment alone with Alara in the conservatory. She is terrified to speak to him, but Damien gently tells her he received the message. At first she denies everything. Then he notices bruising hidden beneath her bracelet. Her voice breaks. Alara reveals only one thing before footsteps approach. "If he finds out I wrote to you, someone will disappear. Not I'll be hurt. Not I'll be punished. Someone will disappear." Before Damien can ask what she means, Roland enters the room smiling, one hand casually resting on Alara's shoulder with a grip only Damien notices is too tight. From that moment on, Damien is certain Alara is trapped in something far worse than an unhappy marriage. Damien begins quietly investigating Roland Ashford. He expects to find infidelity, corruption, maybe financial abuse. Instead, he finds a fortress of secrets. Ashford House sits on the cliffs outside Raven's Hollow, an old stone estate with iron gates, private security, and a long history of scandal hidden beneath political donations and carefully managed headlines. With the help of his longtime attorney and friend Naomi Reed, Damien uncovers a pattern. Roland's first wife died in what was ruled a prescription overdose. Two former housekeepers signed non-disclosure agreements and vanished from public records. Ashford campaign funds have been routed through shell charities. Several witnesses connected to Roland's administration suddenly relocated or went silent. But the most disturbing discovery is tied directly to Alara. Before she married Roland, Alara had been engaged to a young investigative journalist named Jonah Mercer. Jonah disappeared 11 days before the wedding. Everyone believed he abandoned her. But Damien finds evidence that Jonah had been investigating Roland before he vanished. Which means Alara may not just be trapped in a controlling marriage. She may be living with the man who destroyed the love of her life. Damien manages to create secret opportunities to see Alara under the guise of business and charity partnerships. At first, their meetings are brief and cautious, exchanged glances at public events, whispered conversations in corridors, coded notes hidden inside sheet music and flower arrangements. Over time, Alara begins to trust him. She tells him pieces of the truth. Years ago, after her father died and her mother became ill, Alara was drowning in debt and desperation. Roland appeared as a savior, charming, generous, protective. He offered to fund her mother's medical treatment, revive her music career, and shield her from scandal after Jonah disappeared. Only after the wedding did the mask fall. Roland isolated her from everyone. He told the world she was fragile and unstable so that no one would believe her if she ever spoke out. He locked away letters from her mother. He used private doctors loyal to him to medicate her when she resisted. He even converted the West Wing piano room into a surveillance room because it was the only place she ever felt like herself. As Damien listens, he feels something he has not allowed himself in years, not just anger but tenderness. Their bond deepens during stolen moments. Damien takes Alara to an abandoned ballroom in one of his closed hotels, where an old grand piano still stands under dusty chandeliers. For the first time in years, she plays freely. He teaches her how to drive again, because Roland had forbidden her from touching a steering wheel. She laughs with him over terrible coffee from a roadside diner, after a near-disastrous escape from Roland's driver. He tells her about the fiancé he lost, and how grief turned him into a man who stopped believing life could surprise him kindly again. One night, after Alara plays a haunting melody she wrote in secret, Damien tells her, "You sound like someone trying to remember she's alive." Alara looks at him with tears in her eyes and whispers, "I think I only remember when I'm with you." Their first kiss happens in the music room of Damien's old hotel during a thunderstorm, soft at first, hesitant, almost disbelieving. Then years of fear, loneliness, and restraint collapse into one aching moment. But neither of them gets to enjoy it for long. Because when Alara returns home that night, Roland is waiting in the dark. And he already knows. Roland does not scream. That is what makes him terrifying. He sits in the dark library with a glass of whiskey, looking almost amused. He tells Alara that she has become careless. He knows she has been meeting Damien. He knows about the notes. He knows about the piano room. Then he says something that chills her blood. "Do you want me to finish what I started with Jonah?" Alara freezes. Roland smiles. For the first time, he confirms what she has secretly feared for years. Jonah did not leave her. Roland made him disappear. Roland refuses to say whether Jonah is dead or alive, but he uses the uncertainty like a knife. He tells Alara that if she ever humiliates him publicly or tries to run, Damien will suffer the same fate. To tighten control, Roland moves Alara into the East Wing under constant watch. Her access to the outside world is cut off completely. Her longtime maid, Mrs. Vessa, is dismissed after trying to smuggle Alara a burner phone. But Roland makes one mistake. He underestimates how many people in his own house hate him. Ashford House has been silent for years because Roland paid for silence. But fear cracks when people realize Alara is no longer alone. One by one, hidden allies emerge. One, Mrs. Vessa, the elderly housekeeper who practically raised Roland's younger sister decades ago. She knows where documents are hidden, which walls contain old safes, and which staff members can still be trusted. 2. Thea, the quiet groundskeeper everyone overlooks. Thea once served as a medic in the military and secretly treated Alara's injuries after Roland's outbursts. He also knows there is a sealed cellar beneath the carriage house where Roland keeps things he never wants discovered. 3. Lena Cross, Roland's media strategist, who finally grows disgusted after years of covering up his cruelty. She begins leaking internal campaign files to Naomi. 4. Gabriel Ashford, Roland's estranged younger brother, a black sheep architect living abroad. He returns after hearing rumors about Alara and reveals that Roland has been ruthless since childhood, obsessed with control, incapable of love, and willing to destroy anyone who threatens his image. Together, they help Damien uncover the full truth. And the truth is monstrous. Roland has been laundering campaign money through the Ashford Foundation, blackmailing judges, forging medical records, and imprisoning anyone who gets too close to exposing him, including Jonah Mercer. Jonah is alive. He has been kept under a false identity in a private psychiatric facility owned by one of Roland's donors, drugged, discredited, and buried under forged records claiming he suffered a breakdown. The reason: Jonah discovered proof that Roland's first wife did not die from an overdose. She was murdered. And she wasn't the only one. Just when Damien and Naomi think they have enough to take Roland down, disaster strikes. Alara disappears. Damien receives a message from Roland's phone containing a single photo. Alara sitting in a car, tear-streaked, wrists bound with silk ribbon. Below the photo are 7 words. "Come alone if you want her breathing." Damien follows the trail to the old Ashford Vineyard estate in the mountains, a property abandoned after a fire years ago. Inside the burned chapel on the grounds, he finds Alara, but it's a trap. Roland has orchestrated everything. He wants Damien dead, and Alara broken enough to stop fighting forever. What follows is one of the story's biggest suspense sequences. Damien is attacked by Miles and two security men. Alara manages to slash one attacker with a broken candelabra base. A fire starts in the chapel after a lantern is knocked over. Roland forces Alara to choose: stay with Damien and watch him die, or return home and Damien lives. But Alara does something Roland never expects. She chooses neither. She grabs Damien's hand and runs straight through the collapsing side aisle of the burning chapel. It is the first truly reckless thing she has done in years. And it changes everything. After escaping the chapel, Alara realizes that if she keeps surviving quietly, Roland will keep hunting everyone she loves. So she stops trying to merely endure him. She decides to destroy him. This becomes the emotional turning point of the story. No longer just the wounded woman in the rain, Alara begins reclaiming herself. She cuts her hair shorter because Roland loved it long. She returns to the piano and starts composing again. She records a private testimony of everything Roland did. She helps Naomi map the financial trail through old charity ledgers. She remembers details Roland overlooked: names, dates, passwords, hidden rooms, and the exact phrase he used the night Jonah disappeared. Damien watches her transform from a frightened captive into a woman with fire in her bones. Their romance deepens, but so does the danger. Because Roland, realizing he's losing control, announces his Senate campaign launch at a massive public gala and plans to present Alara by his side as proof that his home life is stronger than ever. Alara decides that will be the night he falls. The climax unfolds at the Ashford Winter Foundation Ball, held in a glass-domed museum filled with donors, judges, reporters, and political power brokers. Roland believes the night will restore his image. Instead, it becomes his execution. The plan is precise. Naomi arranges for Lena's leaked files to reach 3 major journalists. Gabriel obtains access to Roland's private office. Thea retrieves the hidden ledger from the carriage house cellar. Mrs. Vessa brings the original letters Roland hid from Alara for years. Damien gets Jonah transferred out of the psychiatric facility under emergency legal review. Alara prepares to do the one thing Roland always believed she was too afraid to do: speak publicly. At the height of the gala, Roland takes the stage, thanking donors and praising family values. Then he invites Alara up beside him. The room applauds. Roland reaches for her hand. She steps to the microphone, and instead of smiling, she says, "My husband has spent 3 years teaching me how to stay silent. Tonight, I'd like to disappoint him." The room goes still. Roland's face changes. Alara calmly begins telling the truth about the surveillance, the confinement, the drugs, the bruises, Jonah, the forged records, the money, the dead first wife, and the staff Roland threatened into silence. At first, the audience is stunned. Then Naomi signals the journalists. Phones begin buzzing around the ballroom as leaked documents hit inboxes in real time. Then the final blow arrives. The doors open. Jonah Mercer walks in alive. Weak, thin, and shaken, but alive. The room erupts. Roland lunges for Alara in front of everyone. And that single movement, the polished governor finally dropping his mask in public, ends him. Security restrains him. Reporters swarm. Donors flee. His campaign implodes in minutes. And as Roland is dragged away shouting Alara's name, he screams that she belongs to him. Alara, standing tall in front of hundreds of witnesses, answers with the line that closes his power forever. "No, I belong to fear, and I'm leaving that behind with you." After Roland's arrest, the aftermath is messy, painful, and public. The investigation widens. Campaign fraud, abuse, unlawful confinement, medical coercion, witness intimidation, embezzlement, attempted murder, conspiracy in the death of his first wife. Jonah, though alive, has endured years of trauma and cannot return to the life he once had. Ilara visits him in recovery, and in one of the story's most mature emotional scenes, they both acknowledge that what they once had was real, but it belongs to another life, another version of themselves, before Roland shattered everything. There is no love triangle, only grief, closure, and respect. Jonah tells her, "He stole years from us, don't let him steal the rest." That conversation finally frees Ilara from the last piece of guilt she carries. Months later, spring arrives in Raven's Hollow. Ashford House is sold. The foundation is restructured. Roland's victims begin receiving restitution through a court-supervised settlement. Ilara does not become Damien's rescued woman. She becomes herself. With Damien's financial backing, but under her full control, she opens the Marigold House, a coastal arts residence and recovery retreat for women escaping psychological abuse, coercion, and public scandal. There is music there, sunlight, and rooms with doors that lock from the inside only for safety, never imprisonment. Mrs. Vessa manages the residence garden. Theo runs security. Naomi sits on the board. Gabriel redesigns the building into something warm and full of life. And Damien, he doesn't rush her. He stays. He shows up with coffee, listens when she's quiet, laughs when she rediscovers joy, and watches her perform her first public piano concert in years. The final romantic scene takes place on the same kind of rainy night where they first met. Ilara stands barefoot again, but this time on the terrace of Marigold House, not as a prisoner sneaking a moment of freedom, but as a woman who finally owns her life. Damien joins her under the rain. She smiles and says, "You know, the first time you saw me like this, I thought you were the beginning of another disaster." Damien laughs softly, and now. She steps closer, places his hand over her heart and says, "Now I think you were the first door out." He kisses her as rain falls around them, not like a storm this time, but like a blessing.